Hello, 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 my beautiful peeps out there. How are you guys doing on this beautiful, cloudy, cold Thursday? But it's okay. How are you guys doing on this Thursday, January the 18th of 2024, guys? How are you guys doing? I am going to burn my sage like I always do when I start off my podcast. I don't own the right to the music in the background that you hear. But yes, guys, I'm burning my sage before I get started. Today's topic, I feel like, this is one of the topics that I feel like needs to be talked about. I feel like today's topic is going to be about marriage. Yes. The things that I'm going to discuss today, these are my opinions only. This is what I look at marriage from my point of view. Everybody has their own, way of looking at marriage. So, hey, I'm letting you know, guys, right from the front, because I know a lot of you guys out there are married, and I know a lot of you guys have your own view of marriage, which I respect that 100. The way you look at your marriage, hey, that's the way you look at your marriage. Only you and your partner is walking through your marriage. So y'all know the truth about your marriage. So by that being said, I'm just letting you guys know the things that I'm going to talk about today. I hope, people would get good advice, that I am going to talk about certain things or whatever. And I'm going to try to show you guys how to look at your marriage in a positive way, because marriage is hard. It's very hard. Marriage is a job. It takes a lot of work in a marriage, and I know a lot of people have experienced a lot of things in a marriage. You might experience financial, financial will hurt a marriage really bad. You might, experience cheating. Cheating can hurt a marriage. You might experience dealing with, each other's kids. Kids can break a marriage. There's a lot of things out there can break a marriage. So don't look at it as, just because a person, cheat. That cheating is the only thing that will destroy a marriage. That is not so. It's a lot of things that can destroy your marriage. And I just feel like this subject needs to be talked about, because like I stated, 2024, I am going to talk about a lot of real shit that needs to be talked about, that a lot of people are afraid to discuss things. I'm not afraid to discuss certain things. I'm not afraid to discuss things, especially when it's things that I feel like that is most important to talk about, because a lot of people out there are afraid to talk about things. And my biggest thing this year on my podcast, I am learning how to break the curse. I want everybody to learn how to break the curse. I understand back in the days when it came to marriage, we went by what our grandparents, felt that that's what marriage is about. Everybody has their own view of marriage. But I'm going to give you my guys' view of marriage, the way I look at marriage, So I am going to, of course, I have to. Oh, excuse me, y'all. Let me take a drink. I am rocking my shirt, y'all, from Family Dollar. This is my sweatshirt from Family Dollar. It says, I am Black History. I got it from Family Dollar. I think I paid like $10, I think. $10 or $12. It wasn't much, y'all. Y'all need to check out Family Dollar. Y'all really do. But anyway, I'm going to get started. Like I say, these are my opinions and my opinions only. This is the way that I look at, my view of marriage. Everybody has their own opinion about their marriage. Everybody has their own opinion about marriage. Hey, I'm not knocking you guys the way you think about your marriage. I'm not. But I'm just trying to teach you guys how to change your mindset when it comes to your marriage. You do. And like I say before, you know, marriage, you know, it's a job. It really is. It's a job. So I'm going to read a couple things that I have wrote, and I am going to discuss some of these things that I have wrote, and then I'm going to talk about, you know, my experience of being married. If you guys don't know out there, I have been married for 16 years. May the 5th would be 17 years this year that me and my husband have been married. So, you know, 16 years, that's a long time to be married to one person. And you have learned a lot of things through those 16 years of marriage. So I am going to also give y'all a little background of my marriage and, you know, give y'all, you know, a little input, you know, whatever. So let's get started. Marriage is literally is one relationship that will bring out the darkness side of you that you didn't exist. A lot of times, you know, we don't realize that, you know, we get with a person, you know, and we think that we know a person, but really, truly, you really don't get a chance to really know a person. You really don't. We're really based on our feelings at that moment, you know, and, you know, being married a long time, you get to, you know, learn about your partner, and your partner gets to learn about you. And it's some dark sides that, you know, a lot of us have our own, you know, I'm going to say our own little secret of how we was raised or things that we have experienced in our life, you know, especially when you're in a relationship. You know, you might have experienced different things in your relationship that you try to keep that, you know, from your partner. So basically, it's like you basically trying to learn your partner. You know, it could be dark sides of your partner that you don't know anything about, you know, and I think that brings that out of you, you know, because I feel like that's when you start to learn each other, you know, and that's when you start picking up, you know, your partner ways, and your partner start picking up your ways. You know, that's how you're going to actually learn each other, you know, because a lot of times people don't realize when you get married, you know, you really don't know that person. You really don't. And I tell anybody, you know, before you get married, you need to live with that person, because that can destroy a marriage too, you know, because everybody can't live with each other. Everybody can't, you know, and I feel like once you start living with a person, you learn a lot about a person. You know, you do. You learn a lot. And I know a lot of times people are, you know, is brought up that you should get married first before you move in and do all of that. But I feel like that's backwards. Because a lot of times people will move in with each other and it would destroy their marriage. You know, it will, you know. So some things that, you know, I feel like our family members have told us is good advice. And then some advice is like, I feel like that's your decision to really look, you know, into what you want in a marriage, you know, not by what other people. That's why I tell you, we have to break the curse. You know, we have to stop learning. You know, we have to stop going by what people is telling us what we need to do in our life, you know, when we know what we need to do. It might work for them, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. Marriage will help build your character. It will. It will build you up. I feel like if you don't have a marriage that y'all cannot build up each other, I feel like y'all have some issues in that, because I feel like as a wife, as a husband, you need a partner that's going to uplift you, that's going to build you up, that's going to build your, you know, your courage up. Because I know a lot of men out there are so used to dealing with, oh, I'm sorry, y'all, so used to, sorry about that. You know, they have a lot of men out there are so used to dealing with women that don't give them that encouragement, meaning that some women do bitch all the time. Some women do complain all the time. Some women don't even realize what they have in front of them because they're so busy of complaining or bitching. And it goes both ways. It could go towards a man. A man can do that too towards a woman. You know, but I feel like as a married couple, if you notice your man is on a weak point of certain things that he deal with, you should uplift that person. You should try to show him how to look at things in a different way, because it's all about changing your mindset, because we're so set in our mind that we have a lot of negative thoughts, and we so used to not expressing the things that, that we want to express, and we're so used to people always putting us down. If we do make good decisions or something, people always got something negative to say. And I feel like as a partner, you have to build up each other's character, of the things that they're weak at, because all of us are weak at something in a relationship. Nobody can't sit there and tell you that they're not weak when it comes to a relationship. They're lying to you, because I feel like in a relationship, you find yourself weak in a relationship. That's why I tell you guys, you have to really go deep into yourself and learn about yourself. You really do. You have to find your weakness when it comes to a relationship, because everybody has weakness when it comes to a relationship. Hello, my beautiful Yolanda. How are you doing today, girl? If you just tune in, today's topic, I'm sorry, y'all. If you just tune in, today's topic is about marriage, and I feel like this subject needs to be talked about or whatever. And also, too, this is one thing that I had to learn. And when I make this statement that I read off this card, I'm going to explain to you guys. You cannot be a married woman with a single mindset. I had to learn that. Guys, because I'm not going to lie. I really didn't know what marriage is about, because I was never a girl that that had in her dreams that, oh my God, I got to be married. Oh my God, I got to have a husband. Oh, he's going to be my husband. I wasn't that type of female. I wasn't. I might sound weird to you guys, but I wasn't. I was not that type of female of a person that, oh, you got to marry me, I got to be married. I wasn't. And when it came to my husband, God would bring a man to you, and God would tell you, you would just have it in your heart that that person is for you, I don't know if you guys, experienced that or whatever, but I did, and when my husband, asked me, I was more excited of saying that, wow, I'm getting married. I was more excited about that, but I really didn't know, what marriage was about, because my mom never was married. Both of my grandmothers was never married. I never really had too many married, couples, around, Now I did have one married couple that I love so dearly that was around, and, but it wasn't like so many of them, so I really didn't know what marriage was really about, and when I got married, guys, and shit, I was still thinking that, I'm single, going here, going there, doing whatever, and I had to realize, hey, Keisha, you're married. You can't continue living like a single person that's being married, and a lot of times we're still finding ourselves, Now I could see the ones out there that always wanted to be married, so you knew, hey, what you needed to do, did and that. But me, I didn't know that shit. Fuck that. I'm being real. I was looking at it that, hey, I'm single, married, but, realizing that I am married, But it taught me, it taught me. It did. It taught me. And it goes both ways. You can't be a husband with a single man mindset, because you will be physical present but emotional unavailable. A lot of men is different from women. Women, we have a lot of emotions. We do. But men, when they're living a single marriage life, they're physical present, but they're emotional, they're unavailable. That's why a lot of men find themselves dealing with different situations, is because you still have the mindset that you're single, and just because you're present, you feel like they should honor that, but you're not there emotional. I feel like men have to learn how to open up their self and be emotional when you're married. I'm sorry. You're going to have to do that. You know, marriage is work. Love works. True love will work. I'm going to give you a couple quotes. True love will make you work on yourself. Yes. In a relationship, sometimes we really, when we get married, we really don't know ourselves. We're basically learning about ourselves. They're basically learning about themselves, because a lot of times we jump into relationships and we don't actually learn about that person. Nobody out there cannot say that they have not jumped into a relationship and they thought that they knew that person, but reality, you don't know that person. You're more going with that emotion, that feeling, that what that person giving you, because it's all about that feeling. It is. And you're not realizing that you're not even actually getting a chance to know that person. You're just basing on of how that person is making you feel, and we get caught up in that, and we do. I feel like we have to learn how to, I'm going to tell to the ones out there that is like engaged or trying to, feel like you and your partner is going to a next level of getting married. I'm just going to give y'all some advice. Learn your partner. Take your feelings out of it of how he makes you feel or how she makes you feel. Don't get caught up in the feeling, meaning I'm going to say that if you and your partner is having good sex feeling or good chemistry feeling, that is good, but you also got to learn about your partner, because you don't want to start off in that way of y'all having a marriage. It's about the way he makes you feel, because you're going to lose what's actually going on, and you're going to lose what marriage is about. Yes, that does play a part of marriage. It does. It does play a part of it. But you have to work on yourself. You have to find out what is your weakness when it comes to a relationship. Because a lot of guys, don't realize that their insecurity will break a marriage. Because they feel very insecure when it comes to, their partner, going places, putting on something, or, they feel insecure, and that will break up a marriage. So you have to find out, what is your weakness when it comes to marriage. If you're a person that you're jealous, if men come around or women come around, you need to work on that, because that can play a part of your marriage, not working. I feel like once you work on yourself, it will make your relationship better. I feel like it really did, and I feel like reason why I say that, by me going on this spiritual journey with myself, or learning about myself, it really have taught me, a lot of things that I have done wrong in my marriage, and it taught me that the biggest thing is that I wasn't more focused on my marriage. I was just more focused on Keisha, like what Keisha wanted. And I had to realize that it's not just about Keisha, you know, because when you get married, you know, you do those vows, you know, and a lot of times when we get married, we don't obey those vows. We don't. And a lot of you guys out there can't say that y'all do, because y'all don't, you know, because you do things that you still looking at as you're being single, as you being yourself, you know. And I was selfish on that part. I was very selfish. You know, I felt that, you know, I was more focused on making Keisha happy, not realizing that I could still make Keisha happy, but I have a partner that I also have to make happy. I can't leave that partner out in the open. And I did do that. You know, I will admit that I did have my marriage. You know, I left my partner open, you know, on certain situations, you know, that I did do of my selfish part, you know. And that's one thing about it. You have to learn how to be honest with yourself. You have to own up of your mistakes, of the things that you're lacking of in a relationship. You know, because a lot of times we always want to blame others, you know. We don't want to realize what part we played in our marriage, you know. And you got to watch the part that you play in your marriage, you know. You got to own up to it. You got to be honest with yourself, you know. It makes you work on your tone. It does. Marriage teach you how to keep yourself in a calm mode. You know, I'm a very calm person. I am. And it takes a lot for me to trigger. And my biggest trigger for me when it comes to being married is that I don't like anybody to try to play me like I'm stupid, or anybody to try to fuck with my mental. I don't like that. I will snap, and I'm not going to lie. You know, I will snap out. I will go there with that person. And then one thing about me, when I go there very, very, very sarcastic. I will, you know. And I always was like that. But I try not to be that person, you know, because I'm very on a real level, you know. And I know a lot of times people, you know, always, you know, express that they want people to be honest with them, you know. And I express that. You know, people have to realize that just because a person come across that they're very laid back, they're very humble, that doesn't mean that that person's not strong enough to handle the truth. I'd rather for a person to be true to me, and then, yes, I'm going to get pissed. I'm going to go through that. But I will respect that person more of their honesty, because you're giving me a choice if I want to deal with the bullshit, if I don't want to deal with the bullshit. And people got to realize that you have to change the way you look at your marriage. You have to, you know, if it's the things that you want in your marriage, that you respect in your marriage, you have to stand by those things, you know. And I feel like it'll teach you how to come across your partner, you know, because a lot of times we go to our partner in a very, very raw mode, and we don't get a chance to accomplish anything because we're so heated up with each other that we actually forgetting what the whole conversation was about. You have to learn how to teach yourself how to calm yourself. If that's one of your weaknesses when it comes to being in a relationship or being married, and you don't know how to deal with your tone, you need to learn how to deal with your tone, because that can break a marriage. It can. Because a lot of people are not going to continue to allow anybody to disrespect them in no type of way. You know, and I had to teach myself that, because when I get triggered, I forget that is a person right there that have feelings. I forget that. You know, and I will, like a man, ooh, baby, I will break them. I will break them down. I will. And I have to learn how to, you know, realize that if they're respecting me, I have to respect them, you know, and I'm working on that. I'm working on that. It will make you work on being home on time. It will. It will teach you. You know, I know a lot of you guys out there, you know, and I'm one of them, that I do like to go. You know, I am not a homebody person. I'm not. You know, I love being at home, but I do love going places, you know, and, you know, my husband is the opposite. You know, my husband is a more home person. He loves to chill at home. He loves to do that, you know, and as a person, you know, you have to learn how to balance that, you know, and I had to learn how to balance that. I had to learn, you know, that I can't just always just go, you know, and like I say, I came back of looking at myself as being a single person, you know, and, you know, and if you and your partner, you know, give each other a time, set, I'll say 1 o'clock or whatever, to be at home, you know, to stay as long as, you know, to 1 or whatever. Respect that, you know, and make sure you do, you know, be home on time, because it's not right for, you know, one of your partners, you know, as a woman or a man, you know, be at home all night and their partner is out at, you know, 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, you know, 5 o'clock. That's really disrespectful, you know, and I had to learn that, you know, because sometimes we do get caught up of having fun with our friends, you know, and we realize, you know, that it's late, and, you know, we say to ourselves, well, shit, you know, I'm not doing anything, I'm just having fun. But, you know, trust me, your partner at home watching at time, wondering, you know, where's they, you know, wife or their husband at? You know, nobody can say that they don't do that, because they're lying. You know, so respect, you know, respect the time, you know, when it comes to your marriage. It will make you work on your communication style. And this is the biggest key. I feel like this is the biggest key that I feel like plays a big part in a marriage, is communication. It is. Communicate with each other is the most important thing. And my biggest thing that I had to learn in my marriage is my husband don't know exactly how I feel. He doesn't know what I'm thinking in my mind. I had to learn how to express how I'm feeling inside, regardless if he doesn't like it. Or I feel like when you're married, I feel like you should have that open communication with each other. But I know a lot of times people are not on that level. You know, because there's a lot of marriage that people don't really even communicate with each other. There's a lot of marriage that people walk in the door and they don't even hardly say anything to each other. It's a lot of marriage out there. A lot of you guys that's probably watching my podcast, y'all understand what I'm saying, because a lot of you guys are going through that. I feel like if you get to that point in your marriage, I feel like it's time for you to sit down with your partner, and it's time for y'all both to come to a conclusion. Do you want the marriage or you don't want the marriage? You know, what is this marriage is? You know, be honest with each other, because a lot of marriage out there is basically together because of the stability. And that's on some real shit. You know, a lot of times people that's married, they are really not in love with that person anymore. They really feel like they made a mistake, but putting in the years, they feel like they should be entitled to stay there, but marriage doesn't work like that, guys. That's why I tell you guys, stop getting caught up in the years of marriage. Stop. Because you can be married to a person a long period of time and you're so unhappy with that marriage. You know, you could be married with a person for 20 years. You could be going on 20 years right now. That whole 10 years of your marriage has been miserable to you. Miserable. I feel like in a marriage, you shouldn't be miserable with the person that you made vows to. You shouldn't. You know, and one thing I can say, you know, me and my husband has a good communication when we need to communicate about things. You know, God would bring things in your life that he would test your marriage. He would test your faith in a marriage. He would test your strength in a marriage. You know, because it could be any little thing that can destroy your marriage. It can. You know, and I tell anybody, if your marriage is worth fighting for, you fight for your marriage. But if your marriage is not really worth fighting for and you're dealing with the same old bullshit over and over again, you need to give yourself a reality check and you need to ask yourself, do you want to continue to deal with the bullshit? You know, because you're the only person that can make that decision. You're the only person that would have to deal with, nobody else. And people need to stay out of people's business. People need to stay out of people's relationship, you know, especially when it comes to marriage. Just because if you're married, just because your marriage didn't work out, that doesn't mean that what they experienced that you might experience, that doesn't mean that their marriage is not going to work out. Everybody looks at that marriage in a different way. People, I understand that people like to give advice. I understand that. But when you give advice to married people, give good, positive advice to married people. We have to stop telling ourselves to people when people, you know, go to you and then, oh, I wouldn't do that. Stop. People got that so bad and speak on what they wouldn't do. But don't speak on some situation that you don't find yourself in. Because when you find yourself in that situation, it's a whole nother totally outlook of that situation. So stop saying what you wouldn't do. And it kills me when people speak on that. Stop. Especially a lot of marriage couple. Y'all speak all of that bullshit and you know your marriage is fucked up. Nobody's marriage is perfect. Nobody. My marriage is not perfect. You know? So stop speaking on shit that you always holler out and say, well, man, I wouldn't go for that shit. Man, I won't do that. Man, stop. Please. People need to learn how to look at your front door first. If you know you got bullshit issue that you're dealing behind closed doors with your partner, stop speaking on somebody else's situation. Stop. And people have that real bad. People always want to speak on other people's situation, but they don't realize that their shit is fucked up too. You know, come on. You know, and also too, it would teach you, you know, and make you work on your cooking like me, you know. I ain't gonna lie, guys. It's not that I don't cook. No, I'm gonna put it like that. It's not that I don't like to cook, because I do know how to cook. But my husband used to be a very picky cook, you know, eater. He was. You know, my husband was used to like a full course meal. Here I go. I had 2 girls, you know. I was cooking up something quick, simple, easy. You know, and as being a wife, you know, we do have to cook for our husband. We do. We do. Lord have mercy. I just had to take a deep breath on that, y'all. But we do. We do. But I admit, I'm doing better. I am. I'm learning, you know, to say, hey, babe, you want me, you know, because you know, we don't have no kids in here. So it's like, I ain't got to get in there and cook. Like, you fit for you and I fit for me, you know, especially because I don't eat the things that my husband eat. You know, some of the things he eat, I don't eat. So it's like, me, I don't want that. I ain't worried about eating that, you know, but, you know, it's things that you have to learn. And, I'm going to speak on it. And then I'm going to get back to these 3 little questions. I'm going to speak on marriage. I want you guys to change your mindset when it comes to your marriage. And when I say change your mindset when it comes to your marriage, start looking at your marriage in a positive way. Stop pulling out all the negative things about your marriage. Start speaking on that. You know, and I must say, me and my husband has a beautiful marriage. We do. Me and my husband enjoy of being around each other and being with each other. You know, God had brought something real tough in me and my husband's marriage. That it gave us both a wake-up call to realize what we had in front of us. You know, and it allowed us to release the things that we needed to release, you know, to each other. You know, and my biggest key with me when it comes to, you know, marriage, I want a person to love on me. I feel like when you're married and you chose that person to be with for the rest of your life, I feel like you need to love on that person. You know, you need to show that person how much you love them, you know, and I feel like a lot of marriage out there are losing the love and affection between each other. You know, I feel like people are falling apart because we get so caught up in this world called life and not realizing what's important in life. You know, and sometimes, you know, in marriage, you do fall out of love. Nobody can't say that they don't fall out of love. When you be with a person for a long time, and me and my husband been together for 16 years, married for 16 years, we had fall out of love with each other. You know, we had fall out of having that feeling, you know, like when you first get together, you know, you have that, whoo, because we got caught up of separating and not realizing what was important to each other. You know, and God will bring things in your life, you know, something hard that will challenge you both. It make you both realize what's important. And we had to realize that, you know, and I had to realize, you know, the things that I played a part of. And he had to realize the things that he played a part of, you know. But I knew our marriage was worth fighting for. You know, I knew that God sent me a person that is good for me and my kids. You know, and I have to admit, you know, my husband was 100 when it came to being a stepfather. He stepped up on that plate, you know, and he did that, you know, and as a wife, you know, when me and my husband got together, you know, him and his kids, they wasn't as close, you know, and as a woman, you know, you have to uplift, you know, your man. You have to teach him how to be a father, you know, because you have to admit to yourself, half of us did not have a father, you know, that was there, but my husband had that. He has a mother and a father still in the same household, which that is a blessing because a lot of us didn't have that, you know, and I had to, you know, explain to my husband, you know, regardless of what you and their mother went through, you have to focus on your kids. It's about your kids. And, it's beautiful to watch my husband to have a relationship with his kids, you know, with his daughter. They building up that relationship with each other. You know, it's about growth, and it's about you as a woman pushing your husband to be a better person, to be a better man, because a lot of times men don't realize, you know, how great they really are because they're so used to people, you know, coming to them with, you know, negative things, you know, telling them that they ain't shit, they ain't gonna be about shit, you know, especially when they find themselves in a, you know, toxic relationship with other women. You know, that do a toll on a man. You know, women don't realize that do a big toll on a man. You know, and that's why a lot of men get caught up when they get into a marriage with a woman. They don't know how to express themselves. They don't know how to explain to, you know, to their partner or whatever. But I feel like when you get married, you have to grow together. You know, you have to get to a point in your marriage that y'all both have to sit down and y'all both have to have those hard conversations. We have to stop being afraid to have those hard conversations. I feel like only way you can move forward in life, you're going to have to release the hard things that is holding you and your partner back. You have to release those things, you know, and you have to work through those things, you know, and, you know, once you learn how to communicate with each other, you know, because I feel like you should have more happy days than miserable days. You know, that's just like with me and my husband. Me and my husband have more happy times than sad times. We do, you know, and it feels good to want to be around each other, you know, and the vibe is always good. You know, and that's a beautiful thing to have a partner that, you know, you feel good. You know, you can be yourself. You know, you can be yourself. And I just want you guys to just start learning how to open up more with your partner, you know, regardless of the things that you and your partner may have done to each other. You got to learn how to forgive, and you got to learn how to move forward, you know, and sometimes some situation is hard to forgive. It is. It is, you know, because it plays in your head over and over and over again. That's where I'd say that where it goes with the negative thoughts, you know. But only way that you can move forward, you have to learn how to forgive. I'm not saying that you're not going to have any triggers, because God knows I still have a little triggers. That triggers me, but, you know, I'm working on that, you know, because I know what I have, you know, and I know it's worth fighting for. And for me to be a better wife, I have to, you know, overcome my triggers that, you know, the situation that, you know, we found ourselves in, it still triggers me, you know, but I'm learning, you know, and I feel like true love actually works. You know, and a lot of times people have to realize everybody don't marry their soulmate. That's bullshit. And I'm gonna be straight up. That's bullshit. You know, a lot of people holler out and say, oh, I married. No, everybody don't marry their soulmate. You know, because your soulmate, you actually feel like it's a different type of feeling. I'm put it like that, you know, but your partner can be your soulmate, but y'all both have to work on it and to be open-minded when it comes to your marriage. You know, you can't look at other people's marriage and compare their marriage to your marriage. Everybody deals with their marriage in a different way. Me, I feel like my husband is allowed to be himself. He has to be himself. You know, I don't ask for much. I'm not a materialistic girl. I don't go to my husband and say, hey, I need this Michael Kors, this coat I'm not one of those type of females. You know, my husband don't have to spend much on me. I'm not, because I don't look at marriage in that way. I don't. I want my husband to love on me. I want my husband to show me that I'm special, you know, kiss on me, you know, make me feel, you know, like a queen's supposed to feel. That's what I focus on. I don't focus on all that materialistic shit. I don't. That materialistic shit don't mean shit. Because you can have the big house, the nice cars, the big rock ring and all of that, and your marriage is what? Fucked up, you know. So be on some real shit, you know. And whatever you expect in your marriage, stand by that. You know, stand by it. You know, and men, y'all have to learn how to open up. Y'all have to learn how to express the things that y'all are dealing with. Y'all have to stop letting your wife guess what's going on with you. We know that y'all have a lot of pressure on y'all as being the head of household. My thing is that if you're going to be a real man, stand by being a real man and be open and be honest with your spouse. Because a lot of you men out there are fucking pussies. Y'all are. A lot of y'all men do not, you know, y'all talk that shit, but y'all not doing what a king is supposed to do. You know, I feel like y'all need to start, you knowing that if you see your wife crying all the time, you see your wife depressed all the time, you see your wife keep asking you to be at home all the time, come on. She's not asking you those things just to be saying those things. She's calling out for help to tell you, baby, look, I need you at home. You know, and once you learn, you know, to get into your wife or whatever, you're going to love being there with your wife. You are. You got to remember, this is the person that you asked to marry. You know, if you feel like you outgrown your partner, hey, be honest with each other. I know y'all might have a lot of shit that y'all got together, but y'all can figure that shit out. Y'all can figure it out, you know, because it doesn't, I feel like people in a marriage, you shouldn't be married to a person that long and you're dealing with constantly bullshit over and over. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. That's no excuse, y'all. I mean, that's some real shit. And I know it's hard to walk away from a marriage. It's very hard, you know, because you've been with that guy for many years. You got so much shit that y'all got together and you got to go through all that. Trust me, I know it's fucking hard to go through that. But I feel like in a marriage, you shouldn't be miserable in a marriage. You shouldn't. You know, you have to have an understanding. And I know a lot of you guys are dealing with, some of you married that have young kids that y'all dealing with your baby daddy or your baby mama. Y'all gonna have to come to a understanding with each other, because me personally, one thing about it, I feel like it shouldn't be no complications when it comes to your kid's father when you don't have no feelings attached. Because that's one thing about me with my kid's father. That was over with. It was about the kids only. I'm not going to sit there and argue back and forth what we have. That's over with. You know, you got to be an adult about shit. You know, you can't sit there and hide shit with your partner if you're sneaking behind your partner back, still seeing your baby daddy and all that. You can't keep doing that. That shit ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. Because for one thing, he's going to destroy your marriage. You know, you got to start being an adult about things. You know, you got to start learning how to sit there and discuss things, especially if you have an issue with your kids. You have to sit there and you have to let, you know, that's just like with me. When me and my husband got together, I had 2 daughters. And when me and my husband decided to get married, we moved in or whatever with each other. And my girls was never used to any man in the house, period. Only man that they knew was their dad. And kids, at a young age, kids don't want to hear what other partners, you know, I say girlfriend or boyfriend, or husband and I'm gonna say husband and wife because I'm talking about marriage. They don't want to hear anything what they have to say, you know. And I had to sit down with my girls and I had to explain to my girls, you know, hey, you know, your mother loved this man. He's going to be, you know, my husband, and you're going to have to respect him. You know, I know you're not used to, you know, listen to, you know, another man or whatever. You know, you have to sit there and you have to talk to your kids and you have to explain your kids, because that's one thing about it. You cannot allow your kids to disrespect your partner. You cannot do that. You know, because my thing is your kids is not realizing what that partner is bringing to the table that's actually helping them, because a lot of these kids out here don't have their fathers in their life, and a lot of men are being the stepfather, you know. So you have to sit down and you have to talk to your kids, you know, because that can destroy a marriage of your kids being disrespectful to your partner, you know. And I did not allow my girls to be disrespectful to Avery. It took them a minute to, you know, accept him as being their stepfather, you know. And I respect that, because, you know, you have to give your kids, you know, you have to understand where your kids coming from. It takes a lot for them to accept somebody else, you know. You got to understand that, you know. And we worked through that, and now shit, they the best ever, you know. Let's see where I got one more part. Okay, and then I'm getting ready to end it. Let me see, guys. Okay. If that's an important person in your life, you need to love on that person. I preach that all the time, because my thing is, people don't realize what they have in front of them, because they get blinded to the outside, the temptation outside, because it is a lot of temptation out there. But my thing is that so many of us are dying so quickly. We really don't know when our time is up. We don't. And I feel like when you're married, you and that person needs to love on each other more, because you never know when God take that person away from you. Because it's hard to find a person that's really, really good to you. It is. It's hard for you to find a person that you might have a list of things that you want from a man and from a woman, and that person meets all of it except like two. That is beautiful, you know. And I feel like in a marriage, we lose that. We lose that love and that affection from each other, because we're so used to being with that person all the time, and we feel like that person should do those things, or that person, you know, we get used to, oh, it's okay if that person don't kiss me today. We get used to that. We fall out of love with each other. You have to bring love back into each other's life. You do. You know, you have to ask yourself and ask your partner, you know. And I told my husband, you know, and because I'm on a real level, and I'm a real woman. And I went to my husband and I asked my husband, what do you feel that I need to improve as a wife? What do you feel that I am slacking of as a wife? Because I feel like when people cheat, and this is my opinion, like I say, this is my view. Everybody has their own view. But I feel like when a person cheats, it's a reason why a person cheats. It could be many reasons why a person cheats. And I feel like when you go to your partner and you ask your partner, what is it that you feel that I'm slacking of? What is it that you think that I can do better as a husband, as a wife? And I feel like your partner should be honest with you. I feel like your partner shouldn't tell you nothing when your partner know that it's something. That's on some real shit, guys. If you want a real marriage, you got to start coming to your partner in a real way. You know, God had opened my eyes up when it came to my marriage, because God had brought something to my marriage that I didn't have no other choice to open my eyes up and to realize what was really going on. And I had to realize the part that I played. The part that I played, I left my husband wide open. I did. I forgot about my husband's needs. As when I say needs, my husband wants to be under his wife all the time. It's about his wife. But I had to learn that I was walking in my marriage as like I was single. I played my part and did my job as a wife, but it was something little that I was slacking of, and that little thing that I was slacking of, I was keeping my husband too open. When you have a person that wants to be under you all the time and want to have that love, give them that. But you have to allow you and your partner to have time apart, meaning that your partner has a life that he needs to have, moments that he wants to enjoy with his friends and family, and also with, you know, with her family and friends. I allow my husband to be himself. I'm not one of those wives that sit there and question, and every time you leave out the door, where you going, bitch? I'm not a bitcher. I'm not a complainer. I don't do all that shit. Because one thing about it, if they doing something, God gonna bring it to you. Because one thing about a woman intuition is always right. So I'm never a person that sit there and have to watch and just, I don't do that. That's too much energy. You know, it is. It's too much. It's too much energy, you know, and you have to allow your partner to be their self, and you have to be yourself. You have to be true to yourself, you know, and you have to do the things that you and your partner loves to do. You know, you do, you know, and it's about trying to fix the things that is broken in your marriage. Because a lot of times when you find yourself going through different situations in your marriage, it's because something in your marriage is being broken, you know, and you have to own up to your shit. You know, you got to own up to your part, what you play in your marriage. And then this is the last question that I'm going to give you guys. And I want you guys to write this down. And really, if you're having issues with your marriage right now, I want you to write down the things that making you happy and the things that's making you sad. And then this is the biggest question that I want to tell you guys. Ask yourself what your partner taught you. Ask yourself that, you know, and I'm going to give you some good advice on, you know, that helped me and my husband. Keep people out of your marriage. Whatever that you and your partner is going through, keep it among yourself. I mean, if y'all going through some deep, deep stuff, and I must admit, out of 16 years of marriage, this is the first time me and my husband ever let any outsiders know exactly what we go through in our house. That's one thing about me and my husband. We don't do that. We don't. We don't speak on that, you know. And sometimes God will bring a hard situation in your life that he wants you to step out and go to a family or a close friend or whatever to speak on, you know, to get advice. And when you give people advice, Give people positive advice. Don't go to people and tell people what they should do, what you think they should do. Don't do that. Everybody's situation is different. Nobody's situation is the same. You know, everybody deals with their own marriage in their own way. You know, it's those two persons that actually know what's actually going on in their marriage. That's why me and my husband never stepped out of our marriage of telling people what goes on. This is the first time that, we ever stepped out of our marriage to tell people what we was going through, and hey, I needed that, I needed that positive advice because, oh Lord, it was fucking with my mental real bad. It was, but it taught me, to really appreciate what I have in front of me, which I always did appreciate my husband, because I do have a good husband. I have a good man, I do. And, and sometimes, we get lost, sometimes we get, and I did, I played my part. I left my husband open, I played my part on that because, like I say, I really didn't know what marriage was about, and I was more selfish. I was more, about myself. I was more about myself, but it taught me, and I'm glad that the journey that, I'm continuing going through, learning about myself, it makes me understand, what life is more about, what life means, what life is, focusing on the little things, because the little things means a lot, and I'm going to give y'all a little story that is like, it's something how God bring angels in your life. And I feel like my grandbaby is me and my husband's angel. And it's crazy how, kids notice things. And my grandbaby noticed that, every time he leaves, he always give my grandbaby, a kiss. And she noticed that her papa did not give her love a kiss. And she was like, wait a minute, papa, you can't leave. You got to give love a kiss. You got to always kiss love before you leave. You can't do that, papa. And it's crazy how kids would sense things that they know that what true love is about. And we forget about true love. We do, and I know a lot of you guys out there that's married that is dealing with, your partner being sick. I want you guys to reflect on your marriage. I want you to reflect on, what's making you happy. Don't give up on each other. Don't lose that love between each other by y'all going through the sickness. I feel like God wants y'all to be closer, to love on each other, because I feel like when you deal with a hard sickness or anything, and you know that sometimes it gets to a point in your life that you're getting tired, I feel like that's giving you an opportunity to try to love on your kids more, love on your partner more, because you never know. It might be your last time that God has given you an opportunity to love on your partner. Marriage is beautiful. Like they say, sick and death, and poor, and, all of those things that you vow to. And it's true, you're going to go through those things, but God will test you to see how strong you are. And a lot of times people are afraid to face hard situations. The first thing people want to run to and say they're divorced. And it's true. We will run and say that. That'd be the first word, because a lot of times we are afraid to face hard situations when it comes to marriage. But you got to realize that you vow to that person, if you truly love that person and you still feel that y'all marriage is worth fighting for, don't give up on your marriage. If something in your marriage is broken, you know, you have to find ways to heal that broken. You know, don't wait until your partner passes away and that's when you want to say you miss them, you wish they was here. That's why I tell you guys, love on your loved ones. You know, I know a lot of you guys are afraid of affection. I know a lot of you guys are afraid for people to be under you. But don't be afraid of that. You never know that you might need that person to be under you just to give you that comfort. You know, that's just like if your partner is going, you know, love on them. You know, give that partner that hug. Give that partner that encouragement. You know, but I hope all you guys try to make your marriage better if you're going through any type of issues. You know, work on it. You know, don't give up. You know, and you got to break the curse. Everybody's marriage is not the same. Everything that people tell you, what they did, it might not work for you. You have to look into your marriage. You know your partner. You have to figure out what works best for you guys. You know, and another thing, like I say, stop telling people the negative things that goes on in your marriage. Speak on your marriage in a positive way. When you learn how to speak on your marriage in a positive way, your marriage is going to be positive. You know, encourage your partner. If your partner, you know, don't have no get-go about themselves, try to encourage that partner, to uplift that partner. You know, buy your partner books to read, to try to inspire that person. You know, but love, you know, is beautiful. Marriage is beautiful. You know, it takes a lot of work. That's why you see a lot of people that have been married 30 years, 40 years, trust me, 50 years. They worked on that. They did. And then once you work over those obstacles in your marriage is going to be beautiful. Trust me, it is. You know, because you're going to be so used to each other. You know, that's why I say me and my husband has a beautiful marriage. You know, we joke, we jank, we laugh. You know, when we home alone, we enjoy each other. You know, we're not afraid to be under each other. You know, we're not in one separate room or whatever. You know, yes, I do go in my mother room, and sometimes I go in my mother room because I have to have a moment for myself to meditate. You know, I do my own little thing in my mother room. But for then, you know, not being under my, we always on each other, you know, we have fun each other, you know, because that's what it's about. You know, you got to make each other laugh, you know. And then another thing too, you know, ask your partner how was their day, you know, talk about the day, you know, so, because a lot of men are afraid to open up. A lot of men are afraid to express the things what they're dealing with. You know, men, you got to stop that. You got to learn how to talk to your partner. You have to get it out. Y'all have to remember that nobody knows what you're thinking. Nobody knows. You have to express how you feel and what you're thinking. That's the only way you and your partner is going to know that. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I hope some of the things that I talk about will give you good advice or whatever. I could have went deeper, but I got, you know, a little time that because there's a couple of things I have to take care of. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I didn't do too many shout outs. Let me shout out a couple people. Hello, my beautiful Shavana. Hello, beautiful Yolanda. Hello, beautiful Shavana. Hello, beautiful Shavana. Hello, my beautiful Tina. Hello, my beautiful mother-in-law, Sherelle. Hello, my beautiful Marisha. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. Don't forget, you can be a better person. You can learn. Change is always good. Change your mindset. Change your mindset into positive mindset. Get those negative thoughts out. And remember, always speak on yourself, speak on your life in a positive way. Stop speaking on yourself in a negative way. Stop going to people on negative things that's going on in your life. Speak on your life in a positive way. Go to people and speak on positive things about your life. That would teach your mindset to always try to look at your life in a positive way. We cannot control the things out of our control. God will bring things in our life that he will bring you to your knees and give you a real reality check. But don't be afraid of that. Face it head on, regardless if you got to be vulnerable, you got to get it out, you got to shout, whatever you need to do. Don't be afraid of that. Let it out. But thank you guys for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. Peace and always love. Bye, guys.